It's been a wild year for us. We bought a new home, we had to do top to bottom renovations while being first time homeowners and not knowing where to start, and just everything that's happened in between. But through all of that, it has been our priority to continue to keep our lifestyle minimal. With all of the good that's happening in our lives and all the changes, the last thing we want is to undo all the peace and space that we've created. So I want to share some of the habits that we focus on to stay minimal this year. So the first one is sticking to a small amount of clothes and a uniform. This approach has been something that I've kept for the last few years. What I love so much about this is it just eliminates the thinking about getting ready for the day. Something that's been really important to me in my life is being able to free up my mind to focus on the things that I really want. So whether that is creating a YouTube video or doing something else in my life, maybe I want to just stick to my calories when I'm doing my eating, or if I want to focus on anything, I just know again that I only have so much capacity throughout the day to use my brain, and to have to use it to worry about what I'm about to wear is not something that I personally want to worry about. So I just feel like not having to think about it has been so good for me. What I also love about this habit is just learning to be more content with what I have. I remember back in the day when I used to think about all the things that I wanted to add to my wardrobe to give me a little bit more style or to keep up with the trends, and it didn't allow me to just be happy with what I had. And it's not that I necessarily need to be happy with few things, it's just I just want to be happy with what I've got. And look, these black shirts, I get new ones every so often, and when I get a new pack of black shirts, that is like one of the most exciting things ever. And it's so simple, but it's something that makes me happy now. I used to have to have, nice dress shirts or the newest trending style to be content, and now I don't. And on top of that, when I'm getting ready, a lot of times I'd be so worried about what I'm wearing or what other people would be thinking about what I'm wearing, and I would totally lose sight of why I'm going to that specific event, whether it's a birthday party or to hang out with friends. And being able to just not focus on what I'm about to wear has allowed me to look forward to getting together with friends or getting together with a group of people, or just soaking in the moment of that event for what it is, not worrying about what I'm dressed as. And when it comes to our kids, having a wardrobe that's not so much stuff has allowed our kids to be more decisive of what they want to wear. I know having less choices helps you decide a lot faster, and being able to give that to our kids is something that we really wanted to do. And also it just helps us so much with laundry and managing clothes in general. I just know that when we have so much laundry, we have too many things to worry about, and then laundry just piles in different corners of the house. And to be honest, it still happens sometimes, but it's so much less because we have less clothes. So that has been so helpful when it comes to just keeping our house as minimal as possible this year. I feel like this is a habit that is tough for families, especially larger families like ours, is not buying too much bulk. So everyone loves Costco, we love Costco, but one of the things that is tough about Costco is you have to buy things in bulk. And in the moment, it seems like it's a good idea to buy something in bulk because you use it often, or it's something that you like to use or you want to have more of. But the problem is having a lot of leftover stuff. And this causes a problem with us when it comes to storage issues, because we're trying to find where to put all this extra stuff. And for some people, that's fine. Like, you guys enjoy having the extra stuff. You don't mind having it in certain parts of your house. Really, it's a personal preference for us, I think, because I don't like having visual clutter. I don't like opening closets or doors and just seeing stuff everywhere just because I have extra of it and because I use it often. So for me, I'd rather make an extra trip or make trips more often than to have to worry about finding places for it and shoving things into drawers and stuff like that. Another thing that I've noticed when it comes to buying stuff in bulk is this weird mindset shift. When I know that there's extra, I kind of just waste a little bit more. And I'm not as mindful when it comes to if it's a product or if it's a grocery or whatever. I'm not as mindful. I'm just like, I have extra. I don't have to worry about it. And I don't think this is the biggest deal in the world. Like you could waste things if you want, but I just think for me, it's easier for me to be a little bit more mindful of the things that I've bought, things that I have, things that I own, and not be as wasteful. Now you all know that we are big on visual clutter. We like to have things to have their own place, and that goes with the concept of just having things out of sight, out of mind. So that means that everything that we have has a place. We don't have anything on the counters. Our coffee machines, they'll go in a cabinet. Nothing is on display. We like to have things just have open, bare spaces. But what that means is if we bring stuff into our home and we can't fit it somewhere, then it really shouldn't be in our house. And it kind of ties to Costco, just having more storage, having to fit things in different places. If we just don't have the room for it, we just don't need it in our house. And that's something that we try to stick with throughout this year, is not just trying to find different places or shove things because we ended up buying something that we thought we needed. I am not at all afraid of getting rid of stuff or giving it away for free. If I bought something on mistake and I no longer need it or don't have the space for it, that's fine. So being very mindful of our space, being very mindful of the spaces that we have available to us is something that we've paid a lot of attention to this year. And it just helps keep us in check, because I think if we don't have those little guardrails throughout our house, throughout our life, in our home, then it's really easy for the house to just continue compiling stuff to the point that you're overwhelmed and you're not happy. The house does not feel peaceful. Even with having a minimal house, guys, and I'm honest, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not always peaceful in the house. Our house is so much more peaceful than it ever has been. Whenever we first had kids, when we first got married, and it's really hard to avoid that as you have more kids, you know, just having a house that's kind of chaotic. But getting it back to a place that's peaceful again is so much easier. And that's the biggest key for us when it comes to minimalism, is being able to reset our space as fast as we can after the chaos has gone down. That is the biggest thing. It's not about always making our house look perfectly spotless, because it's not realistic, and it won't be as long as our kids are in this stage or in this age group of being 6, 4, and 2. So we're okay with that. We understand that. We've accepted that. But again, that's the whole point, is being able to have a space that's able to be reset real quick. Conscious spending. This is something that I really believe in, and not buying things just in case. We've truly stopped buying a lot of things for just in case somebody comes over, or just in case this situation might happen. I'd rather get things in the moment when I need it, and maybe that's not as proactive as some of you guys may like to live, but I'd rather that than have to manage more stuff in my house. We make sure that we talk about purchases as they come, not the little purchases so much, but definitely the medium to larger size purchases. The only time we really talk about little purchases is when they start to accumulate and we're not like pinpointing why these little things are adding up or accumulating in our home. But otherwise, we just really try to be on the same page about the things that we're buying for our house. And this is something that we've had to really be aware of as we've gone through renovations and the first time owning a home, because we'll just start buying things that we think we need, or you know, someone told us that we need, and we've had to be very aware of that. And we've had to, you know, had conversations about like, do we really need to buy this, or do we need this right now? Can this be something that we wait on? And so just being on that same page has helped us, not just stuff showing up at the door, Amazon packages showing up, or things from Home Depot, you know, all that stuff that just accumulates in a home once you become a homeowner. And again, it's our first time, so this is a new journey. There's been things that we haven't known how to do, and you buy extra sometimes, you know, and it's okay. And I've given myself a lot of grace in that area of just being okay with having a little bit extra stuff, but not too much. And it's okay to just go back and reflect and be like, okay, maybe I overbought on that area, or maybe I overspent in this area and I don't really need it anymore. I know now not to do it, so. This habit is something that we've tried to instill in our kids, is just being mindful of the toys that they have, and how do we guide them when it comes to either getting rid of something or bringing in another toy. So that's something that we've been working through a lot more in this stage of their life as they're a little bit older, and they have the freedom to make their decisions too. And our kids, they love leaving everything out. That is just the truth of our kids. They like having everything out on the floor. They like having their toys everywhere. They like playing with everything in a mess. And a lot of times The mess will be some of the toys that they never really touched, but they just kind of left it out. So the house feels a little bit more messier than it should. And so because we want to have a more tidy home and we know that they don't always play with every single toy, we try to walk them through that process of, hey, do you need this toy? Do you like to play with this toy? Would you want someone else to have this toy? And being able to have those conversations more often with them, and then giving them basically the ability to make that decision, like, yes, I want to keep this toy. And then we'll ask, okay, well, how about we put this toy here and you don't play with these toys? And if they don't, it's just coaching them through that process of not always having so much stuff because they just want so much stuff. And Mila's kind of going through a stage where she wants a little bit more things. And Carlene and I are definitely not trying to control every little thing that she wants. And so being open to that, you know, she wants a makeup table. Okay, you know, maybe we'll get her a makeup table. And if she doesn't use it, then maybe we'll get rid of it. Or maybe we'll ask her, do you want to give it to somebody else? And just being willing to be open to, it's okay to have things come into your house. It's okay to give your kids the things that, you know, you would love to be able to have given to them. But at the same time, not just accumulating so much stuff and being afraid to say no and, you know, to hurt their feelings. You know, you just have to kind of teeter that seesaw, if you will. And that's something that we're working through right now. This is a habit that was probably one of the first habits that we really focused on when we started to go on this minimalism journey, is focusing on experiences and not just gifts. So it's easy to just buy a gift for somebody or just get them a gift card. And we still do that from time to time, but anytime we try to get a gift or give something to a friend or a family member or even each other, whether it's a birthday or anniversary or whatnot, we try to do experiences. So is there a way that we can make this a meaningful experience for that person so that they remember it, and not just stuff, things that they might get rid of one day or things that they might need only for a short amount of time. You know, for instance, Carlene's mom's birthday is coming up and we really want to take her to a nice restaurant. She really loves steak, so we take her to a really nice steakhouse and give her that. And not just focusing on like, hey, what do you want, so we could just buy it and send it to you, but like, how can we spend this moment with you and make it special? And not every moment can we spend when we gift an experience or whatnot with that person, but overall, that's just the mindset that we have, because I definitely believe that experiences can definitely be more meaningful in the long run than gifts. Gifts are nice, and we still do them from time to time. We'll give a gift to each other, me and Carlene, or we'll give a gift to somebody. But overall, I would say experiences over gifts is something that we're still to this day prioritizing. If I look back and tie it to our townhouse, this is a habit that we broke. We've shared that we used to have on our kitchen this whole like wall art, and it had eat, the word spelled out, and there's aluminum things that you put on the wall, and then like a big fork and whatnot. And that was the thing. That was what everyone was doing, is decorating their kitchen with things like that. And when we pulled it off, we couldn't believe how good that felt. And it was so destimulating. And ever since then, we've tried to keep our areas destimulating. So we don't really put a lot of stuff on the walls, and we get a lot of hate for that. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it's not for everybody. And it's not that we're saying like you have to do that thing. But for us, we really, really, really try to keep our spaces destimulated. And we explained in the home tour that we are definitely not done with our space. There are things that we want to add. We do actually want to add a portrait on the wall of our kids, but that's like one thing. And we still have some furniture that we have to put in, a dining room table and whatnot. And we're rethinking how we want our space to be, but it's definitely not going to be with a lot of different things to add what people call hominess. Now, I will say this, I enjoy going to people's houses who have that hominess factor. So my grandmother has a super homey place full of stuff everywhere, but it has that, you know, cozy vibe. I can say that I would never want to manage that house though. Like, it's nice to visit, but I could not manage that. And it would make me stressed out and worrying about all these things and managing all this stuff. So I will say for me, having a homey house full of a bunch of things is not something that I want. And that's why I say it's not for everybody. And we're never gonna put that on people like you have to live like this, because like I said, I like going to homey houses, but it's just not something that will be for us. And so just keeping our areas as destimulating as possible, calm as possible, clutter-free as possible has really helped us this year, especially when we're trying to furnish this new home. keeping our commitments minimal has been so huge for us. This year has been a lot when it comes to just the changes that we've been going through. With the new home, with the new schedules, with the new schools, with all of that stuff. And we have distanced ourselves from groups or people who pull from us, who want commitments from us and want too much of our attention. I can say that we no longer want to be pulled in so many different directions. We're in this phase of life that we really want to be able to be present for our kids, be present for each other. And it might even trickle into the later parts of our life where we just don't, find ourselves wanting to be committed to a lot of things. And I feel like we're taught that we have to constantly give ourselves to others, and then we give them the control over our lives. It might be in good intentions in the beginning because you want to be there for people, you want to show up, you want to be committed to a good thing, whatever you're committed to, a good cause, a church, or whatever. But then you ended up giving so much of yourself that you don't have enough time to enjoy just being alive because you're constantly pulled in so many directions. So keeping our commitments as minimal as possible is something that we focus on. And we've had a little bit more things come up lately, and we've done that by choice though. We've found some friends that we really enjoy being around, and so we've spent more time, we've committed more time, but we know when to pull back, when we are feeling a little bit worn out. And I think finally having control over that and not giving it to somebody else to control has been so huge for us. And this even goes with social media. So we're not so much on the consuming social media side, we're on the producing side, since we make a lot of videos and we do a lot of stuff on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I would say that that's also another factor where we've pulled back a little bit, because we're not trying to use this as we have to keep producing, and then we're unhappy, because we want this to be an outlet. We just want this to be a thing that we do to encourage other people, to connect with other people, and not so much we have to do this thing for why? Just to have more people follow us. That's not the goal. I think the real goal is having our life, our experiences, our being be something on display to encourage others, to inspire others, to just allow people to be like, there's someone else out there like me. So we've been pulling back a lot more when it comes to commitments on social media. And yes, we're definitely gonna still show up, but when we know we need to pull back, we will. And that's the only way I think we can do this in the long term. There's a saying that I feel like ties with almost everything every point that I make in a video, or the way that I guide my own life sometimes, but you overestimate what you can do in the short term and you underestimate what you can do over a lifetime. So we overcommit ourselves to things in the short term because we feel like we have to, or we see other people doing it, and we're so afraid that fear of missing out. And we underestimate, if we do something small over a lifetime, how much change or how much impact it can make. And I try to live my life by that. I do not always follow through with that. I will be the first to say, and I don't feel ashamed of that. It's something that I constantly work on, because there is days where I'm like, I need to do more. But truth is, you don't. You need to do enough over a long period of time, and that'll make a huge difference. And this one has just been the cornerstone for our entire minimalism and simple living journey. But definitely right now in this year, it's just constantly focusing on how can we have a meaningful and simple life. We're constantly trying to think about how can we find more meaning in our relationships. So relationships with each other, with our kids, with others. How can we have more meaningful experiences, and how can we remove the importance of stuff and how that can play a role in shaping a meaningful life, and how can we just live a fuller life just from the experiences that we have in raising kids and working, and just whole process of growing as a family. And there's nothing wrong with stuff. I do love stuff sometimes, certain things that I want to buy, but it can distract from the stuff that's actually of meaning. And there's always times where Carlene and I will have to encourage that, hey, we need to slow down a little bit. We need to just enjoy the moment. And that's just constantly putting that focus on having a simple life. Somebody actually reached out to me on Instagram and asked me how do you have more of a simple life, more than just minimizing things, but how do you have more of a simple life? And that's really the answer. Just focus on the stuff that actually matters. And it seems so too simple, but it's really like that. And it's not as easy as it sounds, because It's really hard to put your phone down sometimes and just watch your kids eat. It's really hard to turn off the TV and have a conversation with your spouse. And that's just the truth. And that's where we're at. And again, I think I mentioned before in the other video, like, we can't escape technology. We can't escape this day and age, at least if you live in America and not in like a rural off-grid site. But that's just the reality of it. And you know, I think our responsibility is, how do we use technology for our good, and then how do we pull back and really focus on what matters in life. And so all these habits have really helped us, and these are things that we've developed over a long time, but these are the things that I can think of right now that have helped us this year continue to stay on that journey towards a minimal lifestyle. And not just minimal lifestyle just to be minimal. And I really try to say this all the time. It's not just to have the home that looks spotless or looks bare and it's trendy minimalism. It's because we want to have more peace. We are raising a family of 3 kids, and we're trying to have a meaningful life, and minimalism has helped us. And minimalism can be the key to living a more simpler life, and it's not the only way, but again, it's the way that we have chosen and has helped us the most. So anyways, I hope this video encourages you somehow. Maybe you can adopt some of these habits or try to work on some of this, and we love you guys. We'll see you in the next video.